And here we go. Another adventure into reality. Who all saw the meme of me today? Oh, look how fast those people put their hands down.
That was me.
I have to say that I got a laugh when Robert put that meme up today, and I popped in. I'm like, oh, look at that look. So I'd like to take a poll out there. Well, first of all, welcome every Adventures in Reality. You know who I am, you know what I am, and we're going to talk in a little bit. Yeah. All right. So if you have a meme of me, I'd like to hear about it. So for those people who are super creative, are not here to ask about their purpose or their galactic history, raise your hand. What is a meme? What are you, a boomer? All right. We're going to open up the calls, Robert, spin up the wheel of callers and see who wants to have a conversation with me. But you have to have at least one meme for me.
Kelsey, do you have a meme for Andrew?
Kelsey, are you there?
Hi. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Muskoka, Canada.
Muskoka, Canada. What part of Canada is that? It's
in Ontario, about 2 hours north of Toronto.
Oh, you're way up north in the land of ice and snow.
Yeah, it just snowed today, actually.
Well, it's going to snow here tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Well, hit us first.
So, do you have a meme for me or anything?
I'll be honest. I'm not on the meme train. Sorry.
Well, then that's your meme. I'm not on the meme train. Okay.
Yeah. I'm an older millennial.
You're a semi-millennial?
Semi.
So you're a 500er or a 1500er? Yeah, a little older. You're a 1500-year-old millennial.
Yeah, sure. We'll do that.
Well, the cutoff for being a millennial is 35.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm an older millennial, so I'm under that.
Okay, so you're a semi-millennial.
Yeah. Late 20s.
Oh, you're a millennial. You're just a millennial who's an anachronism.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
So what did you want to talk about today?
Well, I really wanted to kind of just get like, I don't know, a general reading.
Okay. Tell me about yourself.
Okay.
How long you been listening to me for?
I honestly found you about 3 days ago, and it's been a little bit of an obsessive overpool ever since then.
Okay, so you've been binged 20 hours?
I would, yeah, easily.
What were you watching?
I found you actually through some Arcturian videos to start.
Mm-hmm.
I've been kind of interested in like researching them a little bit, and then I found your page through some of your videos on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what did you learn? What did you learn from them? Did it just hit you like a ton of bricks or a tidal wave?
Honestly, everything that I've heard of what you've done just sounds so familiar and resonates a lot. It's just kind of that information that I was looking for, at least a little bit more specific. And it's the most I've kind of like resonated with something in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me, what do you do for a job? I'm tuning into you now as I get a general reading.
Okay. I work at a really popular pub up here in Bracebridge, and I do a little bit of acting on the side, but I do a lot of serving.
Is it closed? Is serving closed right now, or is the build? Are they?
All of my all my jobs are closed at the moment.
So you're just sitting there with twiddling your thumbs, watching YouTube and Facebook.
I'm taking the time to research.
Well, you haven't listened to me long enough for me to rail on researchers. People who are YouTube or Facebookers are false researchers. You can't get your PhD in a subject in YouTube or Facebook.
Well, luckily I found you at the right time then.
Yes. Are you in a relationship right now?
I'm not, no.
When's the last time you've been in one?
At the beginning of the year.
Beginning of the year. Why did it end?
financial issues and just kind of maturity issues.
So was he immature and financially challenged and you were the one with the funds?
Yeah.
Is that a regular journey for you?
No, it's not. No.
Okay. So you picked up a bum and you couldn't get him off your couch?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay. Yeah. He couch surfed his way into your life.
A little bit.
Yeah. All right. So I've tuned into you. You've got a lot of, we'll just call mitigating circumstance around your life.
Oh, great.
Did you attend college at all?
I did 1 year and then I dropped out.
Why'd you drop out?
I wasn't taking it seriously. I didn't like the curriculum and
What were you going for?
criminology, psychology, and sociology.
Oh yeah, totally not for you. What
No.
made you want to go for that?
It's actually kind of like a family thing. I've got a lot of family in corrections and policing, and it was an area I always found interesting. But when I got in there, it was a little too blah for me.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Criminal stuff was too blah. Most people don't say that.
I don't know. My sixth sense of humor wasn't getting enough. I don't know. It just didn't stimulate me, I guess, in the right ways that kept me interested enough.
Okay, so you just were not ready to be.
I was, yeah.
You were not ready to be in school.
Probably not. No, I moved out to Whistler after my 1 year.
Whistler, what were you doing there?
I was a ski bum for a couple of years.
A ski bum.
Yeah.
Did you get good? Did you get good at skiing?
Yeah. Snowboarding every day on the mountain for work wasn't a bad gig.
Why'd you stop?
I moved to Australia.
From snow to heat. Tell me.
Yeah. Well,
Why
I had
Australia?
met an Australian, I met an Australian that I had moved there with.
You met an Australian
Over in yeah.
Okay. And how did that turn out?
Well, I came back.
Well, obviously.
It didn't turn out well. No.
Why?
Well, he was on a golf tour and went off and kind of forgot that he brought me there. And we just we grew apart.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Golf. Killer of
golf,
many
yeah.
Golf, the killer of many relationships.
Apparently.
Yes. All right. So as I said, I've tuned into you. You've got a lot of mitigating circumstance from your life, and that's choice and follow through.
Yeah.
And commitment, courage, and discipline, which you don't lack, you just don't use. So
Okay.
There's a heavily lazy side of you when it comes to your own personal work and moving forward.
Okay.
Don't take this as an attack or an offense.
No, I asked for it.
Okay. So we call this the roasting hour sometimes.
Great.
Okay.
Start off strong.
Yes. Well, this is a slow roast. I'm
All
smoking
right.
you real fast. I got the turner going here. And
okay.
For you to make changes in your life, you have to learn how to stick to a schedule and have consequences when you don't stick to a schedule. You have already shown that Facebook and YouTube are time distractors for you when you
Absolutely.
don't have anything to do and you're bored.
Yeah.
First thing first, there is no person that's on the spiritual path should ever be bored. If you're saying I'm bored, it means you're lazy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah.
And that's something you've got to repeat to yourself. I want to flip on my phone. That's boredom.
Yeah.
And you've got to put the phone down and say, hey, I'm choosing to be a disciplined person and I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to do a spiritual practice, or I'm going to do a meditation. I'm going to do something that's going to better my life.
Yeah.
Which is something missing in your journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
I feel a little overwhelmed with my options potentially.
You have an unlimited amount of options. How can you be overwhelmed by the infinite? Free to do whatever the hell you want, but there's a little scared girl inside you.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What scared her?
A lot of my upbringing was a little tough.
Tough, like mutton?
Uh, sure. It was challenging in a lot of different ways, in a sense of not being able to trust people, and yeah,
What made you not trust people?
I felt let down a lot.
By who? Who let you
My
down?
A lot of my family. So I kind of went off seeking
Mhm.
to make my own sort of family.
Uh-huh. And what
Yeah.
did you get?
I think I've got a pretty good bench.
So what is it that you truly want to do with your life?
Well, and that's kind of where I'm at a standstill at the moment. I think the quarantine has obviously made me stop and not be part of the rat race, and kind of where do I want to go next? And I think I kind of have a general idea of where I want to kind of project my studies, but I'm not entirely sure what's guiding that, or yeah.
So what does that mean? That's a fluffy answer. It
That's
doesn't mean
a
what
broad
I want to
statement.
do. What do you
That's a broad
true in
statement.
your heart, if you had money to move forward and support, what the hell would you be doing?
I would probably be doing my own practice. Well, I'd want to study cosmology and astrology and astronomy, and try and do my own practice with like the archetypes of
So
astrology.
so when you say cosmology, like hair and nails and makeup?
No, sorry, I mean in the sense of the cosmos, and learning more about how they're affected.
That's what I thought. It just came
Yeah.
off that you want to do hair, nails, and tarot reading.
Sorry, no. I got a little ahead of myself. No, I want to start learning more about how the planets and like are affecting the archetypes with mythology and all that sense, and the astronomy, and yeah.
So if you were to go and get a deck of tarot cards and put 20 hours a week to it and turn off Facebook 20 hours a week, in a month you could master it.
Yeah, I have a deck with me. Yeah.
So how often do you use it?
Not very often. I haven't been drawn to it very often.
So when you're a tarot card reader, you can't be worried about being drawn or undrawn to it.
Oh, well,
It's
yeah.
bound to you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Is that
Like a kid looking for a nipple.
Okay.
So this is my advice for you. Don't limit yourself to one card system. Are you familiar with the Chinese I Ching?
I'm not nearly as familiar as I would like to be.
You can go buy a book for $8 to $10 and a set for $5 to $9, and go online and get it. And then there's another set that I want you to get called the Viking Runestones or Norse Runestones. And I want you to use all three of the systems, tarot, rune, and I Ching every day.
Okay.
Do 2 drawings on each system each day.
Okay.
And what is this going to teach you? How to use a system, how to memorize what all the different things are, and how to understand the nature of the teachings that each book, each rune, each I Ching, they all have a message that you have to go through a memorization process with.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that memorization process is pattern recognition. Okay. In the beginning, you're doing it for yourself. So you're going to be giving yourself 6 readings a day.
Yeah.
Do you think you have the discipline to not be bored long enough and able to turn off Facebook and YouTube and focus on 6 readings a day? A reading can take 10 minutes. It can also take an hour.
Yeah, absolutely. I could do that.
Okay.
I've got nothing else to do.
I want you to swear a holy oath that you will do this, or you'll give yourself a wedgie.
All right. Okay. I promise. I swear.
I swear upon my underwear.
I swear upon. Yes, the unholy underwear with a holy pledge.
That I shall
practice every day, at least an hour. I would give myself an hour every day.
Each system twice a day.
System twice a day.
Okay. That's
okay.
all 3. Runestones.
I Ching and tarot. Okay. I have an oracle deck as well, so I may as well throw that in as well.
Exactly. Okay. So that's 8 readings a day.
Okay.
That is
Deal.
going to teach you endurance.
Okay.
So to do a reading with any type of system, you have to be open to what the message is.
Yeah.
Okay. You cannot allow the message to be influenced by your guessing. So in the beginning, you're going to have to read what each runestone, what each thing means. And then you're going to have to go, well, this one and this one said this one and this one said this. And then later in the day, you're going to be on the next system. This one and this one said this, and this one and this one. And then you're going to go, oh, whoa, they're starting to match up.
Yeah.
And when you spread it over multiple systems, synchronicities are going to arise. And you're going to go, holy fuck, it's talking to me.
Yeah.
And me alone. And
Yeah.
that's how decks work.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. Yep.
I want you to add to that promise that for 3 weeks, I will try this. Well, from one full moon to the next full moon.
All right. Deal.
Okay. Now, the next thing is you already know that you have a psychic side. You've just been denying it pretty much your whole life.
Well, yeah. I'm wondering where I'm blocked with it.
It comes back to your childhood. Mom and dad didn't believe what was really going on with you.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember your invisible friends, or do you not?
No, I don't.
Do you even remember having them?
No.
Okay. Do you talk to your mom or dad still?
Yeah. Yeah. I live with my mom.
Ask them about having invisible friends, if they remember it or not.
Okay. I will. Invisible friends.
Yes.
All right. I'll ask that when I get home.
You had a lot. Do you remember any powerful dreams from when you were young?
Yeah. Yeah. There are a few that have stuck with me even to this day.
Like what? Tell me about
it. There was one that I still think about all the time from my childhood home. We had this forest behind the house, and I used to see kind of cloaked figures walking towards the house. That's one that I think of quite often, but I haven't had ever since we moved out. Another one was looking up into the sky, and I used to think that I would see witches flying around. I remember that one as well.
How old were you?
I would say probably about 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm. What do you remember about the witches?
They were about gray, like kind of like a smoky thing, all just kind of flying around in the sky together.
Did they give you an impression of good or bad or joyful or unhappy?
I don't remember being scared of them.
Mm-hmm.
I remember telling my parents about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. Yeah, I just remember observing that, and I like the visual is still in my head as much as
When you were, let's say, 13, 14, what was the challenges in your life, if you can remember?
I was moving out of my mom's house and into my dad's.
Why? With a divorce?
They had been divorced since I was under a year old, but my mom was with a guy that wasn't all that great that I wanted to kind of escape from.
Mm-hmm. And were you able to do it?
Yeah, I was able to escape from him, yeah.
And how did it turn out for you?
Well, the other option wasn't all that great either.
When you moved to your father's, how did it turn out there?
It was more of a stable place, but I found the dynamics of moving into my dad's house with his family, like his wife and their 2 kids, was like it would be like the Cinderella kind of deal with the stepsisters and the stepmother.
Tell me a little bit more about it, because this is where you told you had already shut down before you went there.
Yeah. Well, my dad and I have never really been that close. I kind of, after that whole situation of moving out of my mom's, I was kind of looking for a little bit of refuge, and there is a big disconnect from their family to me, and I don't think I was ever accepted totally into that.
This is a trauma for you.
Yeah.
Do you know the nature of what inner work is?
Generally, yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Well, I for me possibly when I'm meditating and stuff, I try and go through my lifeline a little bit and pick the moments that kind of step out to me, that like haunt me in my brain, and I try and go through them, what I could have done differently, or how it could have happened, or what was not my own. So going through that.
You really don't know what it is.
Well, help me out.
That's when you are in a situation where you decide to actively work on those things that you just talked about, which is using your capacity to understand what are the nature of habitual programs of self-defeat within you. And you go and talk to those individual pieces and say, no, I cannot allow you to run my life anymore.
Yeah.
I know you're new to my material. Have you done any of the contract revocations yet?
Haven't been through any of that yet.
It would be highly advisable if you do that. That's going to be your first foray into understanding the nature of inner work.
Those were on your website, correct? I think
yes.
I saw those briefly.
They're under the insights page.
Okay.
Okay. Are you on a computer or are you on your phone?
I'm on my phone right now.
Oh, well, how about we do? I'll do a little healing because you're new and you're on the front hot roast seat. I want you to go to, if you can pop into my phone,
far out.
Go to the insights page, and I want you to pick the divine feminine one. And I'm going to have you read it out. What I'm going to do is do a healing on you while you're reading it. And you're going to have the key is to read it out loud. But the thing is, you don't want to read it fast. You want to read it slow. Now, many people bawl their eyes out. So anyone in the chat room who wants to talk about people who get emotional from it, millions of people have read these documents on their path to discovering what inner work is. Okay?
Andrew, can you spell your last name for me again? I'm just whipping up. I have an iPad with me.
Bartzis. If you look in the chat room, there's a link right there.
Okay. Oh, beautiful.
Yes. Thank you, Jen. And now you're about to give birth. You're big as a house, and all the blessings to pregnant Jen.
Yeah.
Yes. So go ahead and click on that link. Now, what I'm going to be doing, I do this with a lot of people in my private sessions. I'm going to be flooding you full of light and looking for where shadow is acting. Okay. And then when you're done reading it, we're going to talk about the nature of your shadow.
Okay.
I'm also going to be looking for any negative entities or excess things and then kicking them out.
Okay, thank you. All right. You ready?
Okay. So remember, the key is to not read fast, and in between paragraphs, allow yourself to have a breath before you go on the next one. If at any point you feel emotional, that's a blockage breaking down from all the light that you're absorbing. Let the emotions go and allow yourself to be, you're an actress, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Play with the words with an actress. Do not be rigid, monotone.
Yep.
Play with the words. So we're all going to hold an energetic space and we're going to start flooding you with light. Go ahead.
Thanks, guys. All right. I call to all spiritual contracts that exist within my past, present, future being, selves, and existence in this dimension and time stream and all time streams above and below the earth-centric sine wave of coexistence. At this exact moment, in the ever-present co-creating moment, I summon all DNA, lineage, ancestors to create a unified, proper spiritual court of equity so I may find remedy and resolve
Slow down. You don't need to be ADHD with this.
Sorry.
Okay. Don't be sorry. Just let the actress in so she can find the pentameter of emotion.
So I may find remedy and resolve with all contracts that have inserted fine print during the pre-birth and birth process. I call forth the proper spiritual court of equity to hear my decree of contract removal. I revoke all spiritual contracts with earth-based religions, cultures, belief systems, and industries that dominate and control the divine feminine power in our world and create an energetic imbalance that affects every man, woman, and child on the planet. I call forth all ancestors of all soul relations to hold space in this spiritual court of equity. I call to Earth Mother and her light denizens within all inner and outer space to come forward and occupy this spiritual court of equity. O great mystery, who is the source of all power, I call to you. Come with your sacred synchronicity so all beings may hold space with unity consciousness. I hereby revoke contracts of all religions and cultural belief systems that place the feminine in a dominated position of inequality. These include the projections of unequal pay, the inability for the woman to earn a living, own land or a business, or receive an education of her choosing. I do not consent to the feminist movement that was created and funded by the CIA to separate a woman from her divine feminine power, foster a hatred for men, and create separation and division in the soul family unit. I hereby revoke all cultural belief systems that create the expectations of a woman's duty to hold an unrealistic burden alone and suffer in silence.
I want you to take a pause there as you're reading. What are you feeling?
I'm getting a little hot and bothered, and not in a fun way.
Mm-hmm. That's your inner parts that are angry as a woman. So as you go to read now, find that voice that softens you. This is the nature of inner work, learning how to soften the hard parts.
Okay.
And find power and authority in softness. That's the divine feminine's birthright and legacy. So find that softness, but still authority behind that softness. Go ahead when you're ready.
I do not consent to all social policing systems that have been put in place to make a woman feel like she is too sensitive, too emotional, or out of control, and attempt at gaslighting a woman's soul to make her feel like she's unstable or insignificant. I hereby revoke all contracts of cultural belief systems where female children are murdered at birth, sexually mutilated as a supposed rite of passage.
Soften yourself. And the emotions are your birthright. They are a healing for you.
Sold off into $1 billion child pornography system or trafficked as sex slaves. I do not consent to the porn industry that has been the breeding ground for sexual perversion, spiritual contracts, and the exploitation, degradation, victimization, and bastardization of the divine feminine power. I hereby revoke the following spiritual sexual perversion contracts that are targeted at separating a woman from her divine feminine power. All group sex and polyamorous programs that are all perversions of sexual or divine sexuality aimed at making a woman feel that she is somehow not enough. All double standards and cultural belief systems where recreational sexual promiscuity, multiple wives, harems, and mistresses are allowed and celebrated for a man, but cause social ruin for a woman. All programs that create projections that men put on women while masturbating, as well as perverted fantasies that are used as a barrier between the heart space of a man and a woman in sacred sexual bond. I do not consent to these spiritual sexual perversion contracts. You have no power over me. I hereby declare that Earth Mother is a dominion with me, as well as my soul family and my ancestors. I declare that I am now clean from these projections of sexual perversion, and I return to the source of innocence as a divine feminine sovereign being. I hereby revoke all contracts and concepts created in innocence or blissfully ignorant states of being. I hereby declare a new form of spiritual and physical cleanliness. I revoke all precious self-created concepts of cleanliness and any perverted attachments to myself. This new invocation of cleanliness removes all previous concepts of sacred sexuality, sensuality, recreational sex. I bring them all back to the 0 point of the fetus in the mother's womb. I reconnect all my DNA strands to that of the heartbeat of Earth Mother. The sacred feminine is connected to her heart and her sacred feminine space and does not deny her menstrual cycle. She accepts it as a time of introspection, retrospection, and reflection. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the entertainment and advertising industry that has created programs of self-hatred, low self-esteem, self-medication, self-mutilation, eating disorders, and etc. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the medical industry that have damaged a woman's health and ability to reproduce according to the natural laws of Earth Mother. Birth control
Pause right
Sorry?
there. Pause right there.
Yeah.
Do you feel that anger growing in you?
A little bit.
I want you to figure out what you can do with your actress voice to soften your energy so that you can come into the end of the line with a soft control.
Okay.
Really summon that inner softness.
Can you tell it's hard for me?
Oh, I know it's hard for you. I can hear the tears and we're holding back because it's unlocked something in you.
All right.
Go ahead.
Birth control drugs and other chemicals in our food.
Soft. That's as hard as a server who's pissed off.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Soft.
Right.
Soft
Okay.
like a lover.
Oh gosh. Birth control drugs and other chemicals in our food, water, and air that cause sterility and over-sexuality, as well as clothing.
Even softer. Soften that word, soften that energy.
As well as clothing that is damaging to a woman's health, such as bras, heels, corsets, bound feet, and tampons. I revoke all birthing contracts created through C-sections, pregnancy drugs, prenatal x-rays, vaccinations, incubations, children who are not put on their mother's heart after birth, removal of the placenta, and cutting the umbilical cord, which can stay intact for up to 4 days to allow the child's heart to bond with the mother and father. I revoke all contracts that force a woman to carry and birth a soul that is not of their co-creative divine choice with their selective or bonded sacred masculine. This includes rape victims, teenage pregnancies, and forced or arranged marriages. I return to Earth Mother to the natural incarnation grid. I now permanently delete the reincarnation grid from my soul existence. I do not consent to all programs aimed at making a woman feel too fat, too thin, too old, too young, too black, too white, too ethnic, too rich, too poor, or any projection at all that makes a woman feel that she is somehow not good enough. I hereby declare that I am more than good enough. I am infinite consciousness. I am God, Goddess incarnate. I am a sovereign being, and I hereby reclaim my divine feminine power in the spiritual court of equity. I call forth all the ancestors to honor this reading of my free will and enter it into the earth Akashic Records for all sentient kind. To understand our freedom comes with the use of free will at all times.
It's a lot of energy just moved through you.
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you really felt something like that flow through you?
Not for a little bit.
Okay. Mm-hmm. There were a couple parts there you got really emotional.
Yeah.
What created the emotion in you?
I think some things I've researched or seen or heard of in my family's line of work and stuff kind of traumatized me a little bit. I brought up some of that.
That is an example of doing inner work, knowing what your triggers are. That document was written to trigger not just women, but men too.
Yeah. Holy
So-
hell.
Now you're going to do the divine masculine. You do these in pairs. You have a female part of you, but right now your female part is very suppressed, and you have more masculine energy in you than you know.
Yeah. No, I could probably attest to that for sure.
Okay, so I want you to open up the divine masculine one.
Okay.
And this one, I want you to be the man, the warrior.
Oh, I'll be able to do this.
But you need to slow down.
Okay.
So you need to keep an internal pacing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be, this is not a just race through this. You have to be that controlled warrior here. Okay.
Okay. Yep. I got it up now.
So now I'm going to change up the healing. So you've absorbed a lot of light. Now I'm going to be looking for the things you're purposefully avoiding.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and remember slow, but you're the confident admiral, general, warrior, giving this address to all of your minions.
All right.
Okay. Go ahead.
I call to all spiritual contracts that exist within my past, present, and future beings, selves, and existence in this time dimension and time stream. All time streams above and below, and the Earth-centric sine wave of coexistence. At this exact moment, in the ever-present co-creative moment, I summon all DNA lineage ancestors to create a unified, proper spiritual court of equity, so I may find remedy and resolve with all contracts that have inserted fine print during the pre-birth, birth, and puberty process. I call forth the proper spiritual court of equity to hear my decree of contract removal. I call forth all ancestors of all soul relations to hold space in this spiritual court of equity. I call to Mother Earth and all of her light how do you say that word?
Denizens.
Thank you. Denizens with all inner and outer space to come forward.
Slow down. You don't need to be a ninja motorcycle rider.
Oh, that'd be fun though. And occupy this spiritual court of equity. Great mystery, who is the source of all power, I call to you. Come with your sacred synchronicity so all beings may hold space with unity consciousness. I call to Great Spirit, who lives within the great mystery. You, the powers of Mother Earth manifested. I call to your wisdom in this I am moment. Bless me as I walk this sacred soil. Bless me as I breathe your sacred air. And bless me as I warm myself with sacred fire. Bless me with your sacred waters of life. Bless me as I learn to walk with personal power. Today, I traveled the great unknown. Grant me the wisdom to be humble. Grant me the wisdom to love, even when the love is not returned.
Let the emotion out. Don't hold it up. Let it out.
Okay. Sorry.
Don't be sorry. Let it out. It's your divine birthright to be emotional.
Grant me the knowledge to balance my way of being, so I may heal my family, my tribe, my nation, and our Mother Earth.
I am ready to invoke my natural rights as a sovereign male being born to Earth Mother through a womb of a sacred feminine who was also born this way. I invoke my natural rights as a being of Earth Mother. I was born under the natural laws. With this wisdom of my natural birth, I now reclaim my place in the natural world. I revoke all energetic contracts with all people I've had sex with that have influenced my propaganda-based mass media or pornography. I return myself to the 0 point of the fetus in my mother's womb. I revoke all contracts with all perverted sacred masculine mystery schools who have operated with false information or who have created a patriarchal dominated society. I cancel, cure, or delete all contracts that perverts the sacred masculine during the birth canal phase of life. I revoke all spiritual contracts that create a sense of competition between the male species when dealing with any sacred feminine expression. I revoke all cultural taboos that create emotional distancing from women. I revoke all perverted spiritual contracts that place me in the incorrect sex that I chose from my birth. I revoke all contracts that create perversion of the male expression of sensual behavior. I revoke all contracts that house, hold, or store my sacred masculine energy to promote male dominant sports, activities, or entertainment that demoralize or degrade the sacred feminine. I revoke all systems of patriarchal domination of the family unit. I return all definitions of family to the Earth Mother, so remedy and resolve can be endeavored between all families now, healing the patriarch concepts.
Take a pause right there.
Yeah.
What are you feeling compared to the divine feminine one?
This one's a lot easier to get through for me.
Mm-hmm.
There are parts of it that are bringing up like memories and moments where I've been treated poorly as a woman, but it is a lot easier for me to get through.
Mm-hmm.
I think I stand behind a lot of these statements a lot easier or naturally.
Mm-hmm. So as you go to read from now on, I want you to try to balance the masculine and the feminine.
Okay.
You may have to invoke the server you, just as if you were your own server, giving yourself the fullness of a huge rush. Find that focus.
Okay.
Be the server, but the key is you still have to read slow. Every time I've told you to read slow, you go right back to 100%. So really concentrate on controlling and slowing yourself. In the controlling and slowing, you're going to discover more processing of what you're saying.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I revoke all cultural contracts that I incarnated or reincarnated with that create a male-dominated society structure. I return the sacred feminine to its right and proper place as equal partners in this co-creation experience of life. I revoke all spiritual contract with all religions I have existed in that do not give full rights, duties, and responsibility in total equity to the sacred feminine and masculine. I revoke all spiritual contracts that retain me in any way, shape, or form, or force me via soul contract to serve in war. I delete all patriot programming that creates a lust for war. I revoke all spiritual contracts that define the male as war-oriented. I revoke all spiritual contract with all governments that I have served enduring all times of war. I revoke all spiritual contracts that create a war-based, male-dominated military industrial complex. I revoke all contracts that I'm getting a mad ringing in my ear. All right.
That ringing is the authentic you coming through.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I
ahead.
revoke all contracts that create a male servicing sex industry that dominates women in any way, shape, or form. I revoke all spiritual contracts that create a sense of uncleanliness within my sacred masculine expression. I revoke all contracts that keep me trapped in shame, blame, or guilt created by perverted masculine or perverted feminine personalities. I revoke all contracts with the incubus and succubus grids I may have dealt with in all of my past, present, or future lives. I hereby banish the entire incubus and succubus grid from my reality for all eternity. I hereby revoke my entire citizenship to all representations of kinship, dictatorship, religious monarchies, religious councils, or representative government concepts. I hereby permanently remove myself from all dreamtime societies interwoven with the system of domination and control that caused the erasure of our oral teachers, historians throughout the entire indigenous world. I hereby revoke every decision I have ever made while in service to the system of domination and control. All decisions made for me by a male soul contract holding representative of government are now placed in a proper spiritual court of equity with all ancestors present, so we may find remedy and resolve, not justice or judgment. I now state with full sovereignty, conviction, I am now fully present in the mighty I am self. I declare from this point forth, I now operate with a permanent spiritual court of equity when relating to healing the divine masculine or feminine, so perversion never re-enters my field of expression. I hereby declare that Earth Mother is now in my dominion for me in all forms of interpersonal relations, for all sentient kind existing and coexisting on Earth Mother's realms. I call forth all the ancestors to honor this reading of my free will and enter it into the Earth Akashic Record for all sentient kind to understand our freedom comes with the use of free will at all times.
That's even got a little couple tears on my eyes.
Did I?
Yeah, you got a lot of other people crying there too.
Sorry, guys.
Don't be sorry. Okay.
Thank you for holding space for that.
Okay. Now that is something you could do on a regular basis. Now
Yeah.
there's a whole bunch of other free ones that are out there for you to do.
Yeah.
And they didn't take you that long to do, about 5 minutes each one, didn't it? 10 minutes each one. That is doing inner work. Okay. But there's inner work that goes beyond that. All those things that it drew up in you, you've got to be able to draw up on your own. And these documents are meant to trigger people to see what's deep down inside.
Okay.
So that they can shine light on them and bring them to the surface and find remedy and resolve, so they're no longer creating negative frequencies. Now, doing the divine masculine and the divine feminine together, it balances your pheromones, what you're attracting and repelling.
Okay.
You found it much easier to read because you agreed with so much of what was there, because that's the type of male you want to have in your life.
Yeah.
Somebody who
Absolutely.
abides by these basic concepts.
It's
Okay.
who would have thought it was so difficult?
Yes. And that is a form of magic you can start doing for yourself to start attracting the right mate.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
for sure.
Okay.
I will do that.
Okay, darling, I have to let you go and move on to the next caller, but it was a
No, I
special
appreciate it.
conversation with you. You helped a lot of people. And when you go back to read those, you held back tears. You really did. You talked to some of the people in the chat room. People have bawled their eyes out from beginning to end. And when you're crying and reading, you're increasing the healing 100-fold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for calling in, and thanks for coming on the roasting hour.
Happy to be roasted. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. Thank you
You're
so much,
welcome.
Andrew. All
All
right.
righty. Thanks a lot. All right,
Thanks.
Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who wants to be roasted next. As all the hands
Alan.
go.
Alan, are you ready?
Ellen, are you there?
Hello,
Hi, where are you calling
Andrew.
from? Yes.
calling from Woodstock,
Woodstock, New York.
Woodstock, Ontario.
Woodstock, Ontario. All right. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. All the much better to be speaking with you.
So what did you want to talk about today?
Just happy to be in the moments of the now. Just enjoying the nice day. It was a beautiful full moon last night. Got to enjoy that. Got to interact with some of your posts there too as well. I really enjoyed that one that you did about the Tree of Liberty.
Did it trigger you in a good way?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How did it trigger you?
Well, reading what you had written and what you had spoken of earlier just made me think back to all the great things that can be accomplished if we can just reclaim our sovereignty, reclaim the original symbols of our freedom and peace, and to extend it into a multi-level layer, you know, to bring into the universal layer, universal peace. It was quite expansive for me. And, you know, of course, as a Canadian, I didn't grow up with the American history and the need to have guns and bear arms, but it's still a very much indispensable part to humanity's freedom and growth. And it is now time to rise up against the tyrants and the despotic kings. And it's becoming so much easier now today. I'm actually enjoying these moments of the now, just seeing the great awakening and just to be part of it, be part of, you know, with you.
So are there any specific questions you want to ask me?
Oh, wouldn't know where to begin. I'm sure, Andrew, that there is a history with us. There's quite an affinity and attraction that I feel for you, with your teachings. I know I've had the experience of being in the association of great saints. I know some have even been, you know, part of my DNA lineage. That's somewhat of an old past, and it's made me who I am today, and it's, you know, brought me to where I am now, and that's, you know, learning a lot of your teachings. And I just find that very fascinating. I don't have any answers to it, but I just follow my heart, and I know that I'm in the right place at the right time.
So were you at the 2017 event, right?
Yes.
I remember you. Your voice, it stuck through. You were a lawyer?
Yeah.
You work with the law field?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you now.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on with your job right now?
Right now, I'm looking after my mother. She's an elderly woman, 90 years old, and taking care of her. And it's pretty much become a full-time job. But doing good, doing very good, taking care of her. Her health is doing well. I got myself a PEMF mat, the IMRS 2000, and that's a wonderful tool, great healing device.
Oh, it's an amazing healing device. Amazing.
Yeah, lots of sound science behind that.
Yes.
And that makes it.
How long have you had it?
Since you and Eleanor talked about it, I guess that was early 2018. And
I got it in late 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, shortly after that video that you did with her, and it's a great placebo tool because the science is so sound. I mean, you can make it into your portal, your time machine, connecting to the dream time. And of course, it works wonders for my mother with her osteoarthritis. She doesn't need any of the medication, so that's wonderful, man.
So have you explored it using some of the other settings on the device that you wouldn't normally do?
Yes, I've spent more time with the theta setting in order to invoke more of the dream time, and I'm always using it in conjunction with your contract revocations.
So what I can give you a little advice of, you can use the heart attack, the stroke. I would actually advise you to use everything that's in there once or twice. There are things that will give you clearing frequencies that you have no sickness or disease from. So the key to the IMS Pro, when you use the goggles and you have the little finger thing on, it's measuring the heart rate variability, it will go and adjust the frequencies based off of your heart rate variability. And when you see the graph, when it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, that's you going from theta to alpha to delta, theta to alpha to delta, theta to alpha to delta. And sometimes your heartbeat can lower 30 beats in 1 minute. Have you seen that on the graph?
Yes, I used to run some of the protocols for my mother, some of the health protocols. So and I noticed that.
When you start seeing up, down in the graph, that you know you're actually going through a big energetic healing and clearing. So that device clears more than just what it says there. So my advice for you is, with your mother, you can use any of the settings, gastrointestinal, all of them. She needs all of the frequencies at that age.
Okay.
And the same for you. It will also trigger new spiritual experiences for you, because you can, take the headphones out and then listen to your contract revocations while you're going into that high theta, high delta state.
Okay.
Pre-recorded stuff. Okay.
Yes.
And you'd be surprised how often on the heart attack setting, when you're doing really advanced spiritual work, your heart opens up, and you have a full heart chakra centered awakening.
Excellent.
Okay. The same with the stroke. When you're stuck in a brain centric mind and you can't get into the heart, put on the stroke setting.
And I guess it wouldn't matter what the order would be. You just run them all.
Run them all. And the key is, do the recommended frequency. Never go to the highest frequency all the time on those devices, whatever it recommends. So what I've learned is most people can't absorb high frequency. It actually creates itchies all over their body, and then they reject the healing. So when you use the finger pulse monitor, what it does is activates the heart rate variability model on it, and the Chinese clock, internal clock that's built into it, and it measures how much frequency you can actually take. And after a while of doing it, you'll get more and more and more frequencies.
Okay.
I've also put it in my bed and set the finger thing on. And if I wake up halfway through the night, I'll just turn it on. For many reasons, it changes my dream world. Many times I've fallen asleep on a 1 hour program, and as soon as it's finished, I wake back up, put it on another hour program. It is the most regenerate, and I'll put it on a very low setting, or I can leave the heart rate variability mode on, and you can get some deeply regenerative sleeps.
Yeah, I have it on my bed, so I'm lucky enough to use it every night in much the same capacity as you described. I tend to not use the heart rate variability as much. Maybe I will, but
Absolutely, it is 1/3 the machine without it.
Interesting.
It's
Okay.
1/3 the machine without it. Without you're using that, you're not getting virtually any of the biggest advantages of PEMF, because the body will reject pulsal magnetic therapy very fast if it's too high frequency.
Interesting. Okay. And it's good to note that you don't have to run it at the highest frequencies, that any of these smaller ones work just as well, if not better.
Yes. So something else you can do is you can grab all your crystals. Do you have a lot of crystals?
I've got quite a few. Yes.
Put them all on the mat, and put it on any one of the settings, or put it on the exhaustion setting or the healing setting, one of those, and turn it on at max hertz for 15-20 minutes. You will charge up those crystals, and you will feel a bubble of energy shoot you in the face, quite literally.
Okay. Very good. Very good. One thing too I've noticed is, I've used it every day for, the 2 years that I've had it, and there is no habituation. It constantly, consistently works. It's a great device.
And if you learn to use it twice a day, morning and night, you'll have even more effect to it. That's actually the most effective way to use pulse electromagnetic therapy, twice a day. Twice a day. Somewhere after your morning wake up before noon, and a few hours before you go to sleep.
Wonderful. And yes, so it's one of the tools in my toolbox, and I've got many of the tools that I've certainly learned from you. And that's great. It's great to do that magic, try to live a mystical moment every day.
There are times that I take my IMS Pro and I have like a 200-foot extension cord, and I'll go out to the middle of my yard late at night. I'll put all my crystals and big giant crystal tools like you saw at the event on top of the mat. And it's like having a 20-foot tall fire.
Nice. Very nice.
So don't be afraid to take it outside. Obviously, as long as you're not getting rained on. Get a really long extension cord, go out in the yard and feel that energy. Feel it.
Mm-hmm. The last time I also had a Lucia Light therapy session, I brought my PEMF mat, and I combined those two.
Yes.
To make the one protocol.
Mm-hmm. You can.
That was wonderful.
Unfortunately, sometimes the light is sensitive to the mat, and what I do is switch to the probe. So if people want to have a light therapy session, yours came with the probe also. Have you ever used that?
It does. It did come with the probe. I just used it a few times for local topical pain or relief.
So what you can do is stick it at the base of your tailbone, put it on a medium to low setting, and just up the amount of time. And what it's going to do is start breaking down a lot of the swelling that's in that area. As well as you can do some very amazing outdoor magic with that probe. So that probe is a 36-inch long, 1-inch wide beam. And when you're holding the probe itself, it's 18 inches around the thing. So like it's a big cylinder with a long beam coming out of it. And you can see it in the middle of the night when it's complete blackness.
Okay. Never seen that, but it very substantial piece of metal. And it is one that I can feel.
Oh yeah. When you learn to you've been in tune with it, you can draw in the space, everything. You can do some powerful magic with it.
Interesting.
And for people in the chat room, the difference between the Beamer and the IMS Pro is quality. The Beamer does not have the same functions and the extra tools that it comes with. The Beamer has a lot of one singular function settings, and I've tested all of them out. And obviously the Beamer's cheaper, and it is effective, but it's nowhere near as effective as the IMS Pro. So that answers all the people in the chat room. So Alan, anything else you want to ask?
Not really. I can certainly turn the floor to someone else. It was It's always a pleasure talking to you. It's always a pleasure being in your association, Andrew.
Well,
I love you, brother.
thanks, love you too, brother. Thanks a lot for calling in.
You betcha.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is next.
Shiba's iPhone. You're unmuted with Andrew.
Eba's iPhone, are you there?
Is it Shiba?
Sheba's iPhone, are you there?
Yes, Shiba.
Sheba, where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Hamilton in Ontario, Canada.
Wow, we got all Canadians today.
We rock.
I am not doing that on purpose.
It's a Canadian day.
It could be the energy is very strong over here.
Yes. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. And it is, as I feel, I'm a healer as well.
Mhm.
And I'm feeling a lot of energetic shift pull right now. And things have been going on for me for 5 years. That I'm kind of trying to make understand right now. They're kind of unfolding and it's shocking.
Like what?
Okay, so what had happened was I do have a restaurant, but I don't work there full time. So I had a bad injury and I had gone into Reiki mastership and I started healing myself. And coincidentally, I started opening all the doors for me. So I was sitting there one day, this is like 5 years ago, and then a thought came that I have to take a shamanic course. And I I knew it was not my thought. So when I trailed the thought, I said, I want to see who the source is. Literally, I saw myself, I closed my eyes, I grew wings, and I went out of the earth. And there was a round observatory over there, and there was a small alien being over there who was scared to see me. I took him out of there, and then I knew that I cannot kill him. I wanted to do it, but I drew a heart and asked him to who it was. So within the 2 days of meditating, we were still traveling. He takes me to somebody that I can see he's sitting on a throne. And I don't know what happened, but it seemed like I was pulled into a contract with that being. And after that, all hell happened. You would say that I had whole Egyptian era, all black stuff done on me. I couldn't go to work at all. Every single day there were psychic attack after psychic attacks. And it has been, I'm a kind of like, I love creating. If I color or do painting or do something, I can see, like, you know, how in the set there were when he wrote the book, there was certain realms, and then I can go into the dream time, and whatever I had painted, I could see I have manifested. And
Okay.
it had
What lineage is your mother and father, and what are you? What were you born
okay.
as?
I was born in India, but my dad was born in Iran, and my mom had a Portuguese ascent. And in my dream time, when I unraveled my rope to see where I exactly came from, it came from Jewish. I ended up
what is your blood lineage from your mother and father?
Indian.
All Indian?
Indian, yeah.
You said there's Portuguese though.
My mom's ancestors.
Okay. Well, do you know if your mom's ancestors had anything else?
When she recently passed away, I did something to her DNA strands because I was giving her Reiki. And then later on, I found out that by intent, she had crystallized her body, and she was coming up to my, the healer. When she came, she said, Mom is showing you did something to her, and she's all young now.
So she had healed her lineage karmas.
Yes.
So there's more about your mother's lineage you don't know.
Okay.
So when did your family come to Canada?
They came after I got married, and then I sponsored them. So basically 89. They came to US and I came to Canada.
There were no other family members in Canada before you arrived?
Yes, my aunt.
And your aunt is your mother's aunt?
Sister.
Your mother's sister.
Yes.
So are any of your mother's mothers anyone there you can contact who would know deeply about your mother's background, cousins or anything else like that?
Okay, she's been coming up lately with an older guy, and I don't know why it feels very strong about Anunnaki.
You're going too deep in it. This all that stuff is pointless. This is about
Okay.
the UFO experience that you had, which is directly related to your mother's lineage. So you have East India Trading Company negative karma from your mother's lineage.
Okay.
So your mother's lineage was probably enslaved at some level, or indentured servitude at some level.
Okay.
And you're experiencing that because part of the thing is you wanted to kill it, but you let it free. But then all the attacks started to come on you, because when you let it free, you broke a karmic bond that you should have killed it and should have gone into negativity. But because
she passed only like a year ago, and this thing has been unleashed on me for the past 5 years.
I get that.
Every single day.
That has nothing to do with your mother herself. It's the
okay.
lineage that she is, the bloodline that she's in.
Okay.
And when you didn't choose to kill it, you chose to help it, is what triggered the attacks, because you are breaking negative karma and they don't want you out of that negative karma.
Okay. That makes sense.
So the work that you have to do is to break the contracts, vows, and agreements with the cursed side of the lineage, so that everyone in the lineage is free from this curse.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, it's very easy to go into words like Anunnaki. You have to stay away from that. You have to stay in the last 7 generations. Anunnaki, thousands of years ago. They don't have anything to do with this process.
All right.
Okay. So you're going to be clearing your mother's generation, her mother's generation, 7 generations back. And you're going to do 1 generation at a time. You cannot do all this at once like an ADHD practitioner. It will never get done that way. So you got to give it several attempted hours at each generation. Okay.
Which contract vocation shall I use?
You're going to want to use all of them. All the divine masculine, divine feminine, government, banking, and media. But you're also going to have to write your own that talk about the family in India who had a caste system also. That caste system puts you in a density or frequency which allows the curse to come in. So you're going to have to create a contract revocation just for the Indian caste system.
Okay.
That stops curses and other things from getting in your lineage and blood.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay. And then when you've done the 7 past generations, you're going to take some time off and literally recover and do not race it. And then you're going to do your 7 future generations.
Okay.
The next 7 yous who will not be using what you just cleared.
Okay. So with that intention, that's all I'm putting down with the intention.
It's not just intention. You're taking what you've learned from clearing the past and enforcing it into the 7 future generations.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. Hello, Andrew.
The next you and the next you and the next you that comes after that, they do not get entangled into the negative caste systems and East India Trading Company's negative karmas of self-defeat, self-deprivation, and cursing.
Okay.
Now, the next thing is, did your family gain a lot of wealth when they came to Canada?
No, actually, they actually ran away and left their property because they just had to leave. It was bad for them. So
what made it bad?
It was like we were in the state in Punjab where they had these people with the arms and weapons, and because my dad had a transport company, so they asked my dad to bring the weaponry inside the state.
Okay.
So,
you were actually a political refugee.
Yeah. So then we basically ran away from them. And my parents went to US with my brother. Then I came to Canada. I got married. So afterwards, I sponsored my parents and they came here.
Okay. So separate of the 7 past and the 7 future generations, you're going to have to make a ceremony of cutting the cords to being political refugees.
Okay.
for yourself and your family members. Now, this is something that is, you have to be very careful. You cannot do work for other people, not without their consent, but you're
Yes.
doing it for the whole lineage. Okay. Political
Yes.
refugees have these very odd contracts where wealth is stolen from them or
Yes.
given to them, but wealth given to them comes with all the strings attached. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And you're taking those attached strings out so your natural generation of wealth can return to you.
Okay. So it basically makes sense because I create very easily
Mhm.
in the other realms.
Mhm.
So when it's about to come to physicality, as if, you know, I can see the energies coming my way. And then all of a sudden, like in the vision, I can see it's been manipulated and it's been sent somewhere. So it's like drifting wood for me. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, nothing comes in my lap.
Yeah. So a lot of these, what you're trying to do is reduce to zero, minus infinity, any of the values or variables in the contract. So nothing can be recompounded later.
Okay.
It's reduced to zero, minus infinity. So the contract is completely null and void in every dimension, time stream, galaxy, and universe.
Okay. So that makes sense.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when you're seeing the waves of manipulation, you
Yeah.
want to follow the strings back to their source and reduce them to zero, minus infinity, and close the portals and seal them so they can't be reopened up, because there are magical practitioners that technically are still actively cursing your lineage
Oh, okay.
because time is irrelevant here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though we're in this future time, their past time is still existing for them.
Okay. That makes
You got to
sense.
close their portals and eliminate their access to your blood lineage.
Now, why the rest of the family people are doing fine? It's just me. He's dealing with all this stuff.
Because you had to sponsor the refugees, which means you're holding all of their contracts. And you're going to have to let some of those contracts go. You can still be the good person that you are. You don't need to hold the spiritual contracts of being their sponsor. They're doing just fine now.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want you to look at the spiritual contracts of being a government, a sponsor for a person. Actually look at them. Look at the energies of them. What do you see?
Okay. Is it right now?
Yeah, right now. What do you see when you look at the contracts? You sponsor them, and energetically, what does that mean? What is it? What does it mean? The energy is coming in and out of you.
Okay, just a second. I'm just going on your page.
Mhm.
The government one.
Mhm.
Contracts. Revocation on bank. So on media system, no, on government, right?
Government.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. You want to read it?
Yes.
Go ahead. We'll hold the space for you and fill you full of light so you can break these contracts, vows, and agreements.
Okay. I call to all spiritual contracts that exist within my past, present, and future beings, selves, and existences in this dimension and time stream, all time streams above and below the earth-centric sine wave of coexistence. At this exact moment, in the ever-present co-creating moment, I summon all DNA.
Slow down. You got to be able to hear your own words and put the power of intent behind them.
At this exact moment, in the ever-present co-creating moment, I summon all DNA lineage ancestors to create a unified, proper spiritual code of equity so I may find remedy and resolve with all contracts that have inserted fine print during the pre-birth and birth process. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts that deal with all government personalities, elected and unelected. I revoke all spiritual contracts with all family crest based government systems. I revoke all rights, duties, and responsibilities to all government entities that use my vote as a means of energy harvesting. I revoke all spiritual contracts with every senator, congressman, ambassadors, Supreme Court members, presidents, vice presidents, and all cabinet members. I revoke all spiritual contracts with every branch of government for all of my past, present, and future lives. I do not consent to the rule of the privileged few. I revoke all rights, responsibilities, assumptions, presumptions, and signatures that retain me within the entirety of any or all government organizations, family crest, sacred geometry buildings, monuments, memorials, or military bases.
Take a
I
pause. Take a pause right there. What are you feeling?
in control,
Mhm.
and it's like something is shifting as if I can vision buildings.
Okay. So I want you to use the Reiki Chokure symbol and
Okay.
imprint it onto your throat chakra. And then the Seihaki symbol, the Seihaki on the back of your neck into your throat, and the Chokure on the front of your neck into your throat. And I want you to hold that vision of the Chokure and Seihaki as you're speaking even slower now.
Haki, haki, haki.
Okay. Now go
Yeah.
ahead and read even slower, holding the Chokure image and Seihaki image so your throat chakra is in alignment with these words and those two symbols.
I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the corporate run government. I do not consent to any form of corporate government that harvests energy from its people. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts with the Federal Reserve families. I revoke all rights, assumptions, and responsibilities with every member of the Federal Reserve and exchange for value systems run by any government or corporate officials. I revoke all spiritual contracts hidden within our government exchange for value systems. I revoke all spiritual contracts with all government offices that use sacred geometry, crest to retain power, or insert fine print in soul contracts. I revoke all rights, privileges, powers, assumed and unassumed, consented and unconsented with every federal law enforcement branch that uses Federal Reserve energy to support the system of domination and control. I revoke all spiritual contracts that create consent for the government committees that determine quality of life. I revoke all rights, duties, responsibilities for all government systems that write laws that affect my spiritual contracts without my direct consent from my total DNA lineage ancestors, past, present, and future. I revoke all spiritual contracts that enable the government to use time travel as a means of domination and control. I revoke all rights and duties of all time traveler personalities, operations, systems, past, present, and future. I demand the immediate return of all government time travel personalities to their right and perfect timeline. I revoke all rights with all technologies that alter dimensions, manipulate time stream, or do harm to any sentient life forms coexisting on Earth in all timelines and dimensions. I do not consent to timeline wars. I do not consent to mass propaganda. I do not consent with war-based industrial complexes. I do not consent with the use of military to dominate and control. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts secretly interwoven into each and every law, past, present, and future. I do not consent to the passing of laws that affect soul family migrations, soul family immigration, or system that prevent me from uniting my complete and total soul family. I demand the instant return of all my soul family that has been denied the right to coexist with me for all my past, present, and future lives. I revoke all rights, rules, and laws that define soul family on third matrix level. I return all the definitions of soul family status to Earth, Mother Earth. I revoke all rights to label soul families with sacred geometry, linguistics that cross dimensions or realities. I revoke all spiritual contracts with all forms of sacred geometry, linguistics, past, present, and future. I do not consent to the use of sacred geometry linguistics as a means of energy harvesting. I do not consent to the use of sacred geometry cities, infrastructure, linguistics, or artwork for the purpose of domination and control. I hereby revoke all spiritual contracts that enable the government to dominate and control all people on any timeline or dimension in Earth Mother's realms. I revoke all assumptions and presumptions of power and caste systems. I revoke all spiritual contracts that define sentient life as cattle or commerce. I do not consent to my life force being used for any purpose that does not heal Earth Mother and promote unity consciousness among all sentient kind living and coexisting within Earth Mother. I hereby declare that Earth Mother is now in dominion with me for all forms of global government, interpersonal relations, or galactic relations for all sentient kind existing and coexisting on Earth Mother's realms. I call forth all the ancestors to honor this reading of my free will and enter it into the Earth Akashic Record for all sentient kind to understand our freedom comes with the use of free will at all times. Thank you.
Wow. How did you feel?
Very powerful, very in control.
All sorts of energies that were being directed at you are not being directed at you now.
5 years, 5 freaking years. Trauma. Not even it was like psychic attack after psychic attack. Every single day, I could not sleep. I have to sleep in cars. I have to sleep. I could not do anything. For 5 years have been taken of my life.
Well, you're going to start reclaiming that. So you've got to be able to start using the Reiki symbols, all 6 of the Reiki symbols that you've learned, and imprint them into the front and back of your chakra, and read each of the different contract revocations so that that chakra hears that resonant frequency of contract removal. The type of targeting you're going through is targeting your chakra systems, which is you're putting your body out of whack.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So saturate the front and back with all 6 symbols and start with your roots. Okay. And then take a little bit of a break and then go to your sacrum. Take a little bit of a break. And you can have this all done in an hour and a half. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And what you're going to begin to discover is they have no more power to attack you anymore. And then you're going to start regenerating and recovering sleep. And then you're going to have to take it to the next level. Have you done the Union and Communion Consciousness Strike?
like, in the beginning when all this stuff came out, I did it.
Mhm.
And once it was funny, I was watching your show, and then when I meditated right afterwards, you came and shook hands with me.
I would highly advise you
Yeah.
to do the front and back with the Reiki symbols,
Okay.
and learn how to do that well for like a week straight,
Okay.
every day for a week straight, and
Yeah.
then do the consciousness strike right after you've done it the next week. So you're going to do it for 2 weeks, but the first week is just the government, banking, media, masculine, feminine, with
Okay.
the Reiki symbols imprinted into the front and the back.
Okay.
And then the next week, you're going to do the Reiki symbols and printed front and back, all of those, plus the consciousness strike. So that may take you about an hour and a half to 2 hours to do.
Yeah.
But what you're going to discover is you're going to start reclaiming your power to be you and take these attacks away.
Okay. Now, at that time also, because I had opened my third eye, it was very powerful. And all my abilities after that, my third eye, it was shut down.
No, it wasn't
Because-
shut down. It was in protected state.
Okay.
You saw too much. You went
I
too
see.
fast. And I could tell right by the way that you're reading, there is some form of metaphorical ADHD, overreading, doing too fast, taking on too much.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a habit pattern in you that you have to start taking control of and slowing your energy frequency down.
Okay. That makes sense.
And
Yeah.
it's going to be a challenge for you because I want it now. Damn it. You can't do that anymore. Spirituality doesn't work like that. Shit like what has happened to you will happen when you go too fast, too more.
Okay. Just basically slow down. There's nothing else to do anyways. So
Right.
we're all at home.
Right.
Okay. So that would work for the third eye as well, I guess.
Yes, it'll work for all of the chakra systems. Once you clear the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom to the top, you're going to have a whole different state of beingness.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Donald, thanks a lot for calling in. I've got
Thank
to move
you
on
so
to my
much.
next caller. Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Take care.
Um,
Bye-bye.
Let me
Many
see-
blessings.
Hold on 1 second. Let me see if Monty wants to come on. I don't see his hand raised. Mr. Monty Dean, are you listening or are you away from your computer?
I'm here.
Hello, Monty Dean.
Hello. I'm not from Canada, and it's not my first call. I'm just putting that out there now.
I noticed.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
I'm from South Canada.
Exactly, the South Canadian.
Yeah. Or we like to call it Canada.
Canada. How are you doing today?
Energy wise, it's been an interesting week. I try to think of a visualization. It's like the spiritual elephants jumping up and down my head, and then I wake up going, "What the hell was that?" So, the full moon. If you've actually seen the full moon, it's gorgeous.
Yes.
My cat decided to wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning, going, "Hey, hey, hey! I'm going to say hey for 20 minutes till you let me out. Hey, hey, hey!" And it was still shining as it was going towards the west. And
You have to learn to close your door on your cat.
Yeah, you try it. I mean, loud meow, quiet purr. And you can tell it's a super moon because it's got a very small cape. So yeah, it's interesting with the like the Schumann resonance up and down and moving forward and experiencing everything. Let's see. Did you see the David Icke interview this week?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, well, it took me a while. I had to keep pausing it because for me, he was repeating information. But
that's what he always does.
Yeah, I know. I think Mr. Ross asked 4 questions. It went for 3 hours, so that was pretty good for David. Nice ratio. But I decided I chose not to. I do not give consent to the global narrative. I energetically withdrew because I'm tired of it all. Where it's like, yeah, okay, this game's boring now, and if I can say it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I walked out on the global narrative a long time ago.
Yeah,
I walked out and bought into my species legacy.
Oh, nice. Because
Yes.
yeah, my bubble's like it's locked down and no one's out, and yet I go by provisions, and there's people everywhere. It's not normal,
Mhm.
but there's people still out there, and the issue that came up with the David Icke thing is he explains it, but he condenses to one sentence, which people will use, which is there is no virus. And because he started with that, it was hard to
know.
follow along because
And he ended it with a fucking tacky, it's all one and we're all love bitches. I was like,
open your heart and everything
you mother trucker.
Damn you mother lover, what are you doing? And it's
because it ruined his message. His message has never been about all love.
Yeah, or it takes 9.5 hours to get to that. And most people go, oh, the Queen's a lizard. I'm not going to listen to him.
Right.
You should sort of open with that first and then explain what we're muddling through.
Right. So only thing people remembering is the last speech. We all came from love. But just before that, he talked to the system. I'm here to sort you out. And when you talk to a British guy, when he means sort you out, he means sort you out. That's some aggressive British language there.
Yeah, I'll translate into Australian. Would you like to go out in the car park and discuss things?
Exactly.
In a way, he's buying into the game. And
he was tapping into the soccer hooligan. He is.
Yeah, well, he played soccer, so
I know.
Probably on and off. And
I'm sorry, football.
Yeah, the football.
Hooligan.
Yeah, well, I'm sure American football should be called catch because they only kick it, an hour and a half and they kick it 4 times. But that's just me. Here in Australia, we have footy, which is based off a Aboriginal game. Anyway, let's stop talking about the sports ball. Well, I've said a couple of times, sports are meaningless unless you play it. And people go, oh, yeah, if you play it, that's awesome. But if you're watching, it's like, you could probably evolve. Anyway.
Hey, I used to be a sports fan. I used to enjoy watching American football, baseball, basketball. It was exciting. But it had a lot of things attached to it because it replaced this war.
Yes.
Even though we're at war all the fucking time.
Yeah. Well, I used to watch Formula One racing because I could see the skill and the strategy and everything else like that. But then eventually I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm bored now. Couldn't give a crap about any other car racing because just driving myself, whereas like I'm doing the speed limit and people are passing me. Like, good luck with that. But I did find it, like he puts forward there is no virus and then explains how
5G causes the virus, causes the sickness.
And pointing out that there are a lot of deaths, but it is fascinating that no one's dying from anything else. They're all dying from COVID-19. I don't worry about where it started, where it's natural, it's a bioweapon, or it doesn't exist at all. As you've pointed out, it's a catalyst for karmic change.
Karmic retribution. Exactly.
And that's where we're at now, because I was on a roundtable last night in Revolution Radio, and they're very 3D, and I don't mean that in a derogatory term. It's just, I think I'm learning my multi-dimensional, instead of staying to one frequency, stepping back and seeing the layers. But they're ready to revolt. Not they're revolting, but you can take that either. But it's it's very negative if you go the language of it's good, bad. They're in the bad because they see the New World Order putting forward, and it's hard to sort of bring up of like there is balance. There are the white hats, and they're there because if they weren't there, we would be under a fascist regime back like 100 years ago or even more.
We have been under a fascist regime for more than 100 years.
Yes, but not in your face. Like,
what are you talking about? The 1900s, it was in your face the whole entire way.
Yeah, but there wasn't the internet, and
but there were newspapers everywhere, and then they killed everyone. They killed 2 generations of everyone off.
Yeah, the brave and
the educated and the brave.
Yeah, but we're broadcasting on the internet now, so maybe I'm taking the total control system a bit too far with the language, because there is resistance and there's pushback, and the planet's most likely on our side, the way that she's weaving her magic. But there's pushback, because if everyone's locked down and everyone's getting antsy, like everyone's wearing masks and washing themselves, it's all that absolute stuff. They sound like Sith Lords, where it's all everyone's locked down. Not here. People are still going out and buying shit.
Yes, they're just not buying as much toilet paper.
Well, yeah, we've caught up on that, because see, if you wait long enough, all the hoarders would have bought enough, and the other people were like, I need toilet paper now, they can go get it. And it was, I think, announced this morning or last night that Australia's thinking about, in about 4 weeks, starting to withdraw the restrictions. And I saw a great meme from, I can't remember which X-Men's film it is, but it's Magneto actually saying, stay here, why? Well, in chess, the pawns go first. And that's sort of like when lockdown goes, they're like, I'm just going to wait a while, because there may be that second wave of whatever's happening. But I think David Icke, if you just step back and observe, in a way, he's caused more division. Because
that was his point of the speech, though. The whole thing is, they've censored me. Listen to me, bitches.
Yeah, which reinforces I saw an article on RT where banning David Icke is wrong, because you've just proven his theory that we're walking into a dictatorship. But as you sort of mentioned, that it was a hidden dictatorship. It's been exposed now. Well, that's like, the world's getting worse. No, it's always been like this. You're just aware of it.
Exactly.
And and there's a lot of, what do we do now? I'm like, I'm not touching that one. I'm living day to day. The mighty hijacker asked, where do you got 2 minutes, where do you see us in 6 months? And I'm
still having the same argument with you.
Yeah. We're sort of walking on a knife edge. Depends on how big the knife is, wide, but we'll most likely, just before, like in September, October, we'll still be in a similar position. Like, as you just said, there'll be where things may move and jostle, but there's not going to, if it's a chessboard, the prime creator is not going to wipe its hand and push pieces off, if that makes sense.
No, it'll set up 7 or 8 chessboards and try to do the whole grandmaster blindfolded against everyone.
Yeah. I mean,
you ever seen a grandmaster chess player blindfolded play against like 10 people at once?
No, I haven't, but that sounds interesting.
They do it on a regular basis, and there are plenty of videos out there for you to see.
Because, well, the chess is finite in a certain way. You can learn everything. I think that's what they do, is they know each calculation. And like, I've seen, maybe it's in films, but yeah, like 8-year-olds playing 10. And yeah, they're not blindfolded, but they're playing 5 to 10 people, and they just do the moves while the other person's freaking out of like where, because you can make a move, but you got to think 7 moves ahead, and it's 144 different outcomes and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So it's
when I was in my early 20s, I would go to this coffee shop out in Ohio, and there was a grandmaster chess player, and he'd regularly blindfold himself and play it sometimes against 15 and 20 people. And these were all novices, they had no skill whatsoever. And he could beat us all in like 10 moves. And it was just like, motherfucker, I'm doing my best, and you blindfold beated me. Just smack you around.
Yeah, like, it's supposed to be fun.
Right. And then I got so pissed off, I went to the library and got a book on chess. And I'm like, all right. And then he'd have to stop, and because he's blindfolded, and you call him, pawn the list position, so on, and he'd be like, "Oh, you've been reading books," and still beat me.
You're doing the Williamson move.
Exactly. Like, that book sucked. Whatever you're reading.
I read that when I was 5, and it sucks. Bam.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to, not hard. I find it's interesting. That's the right language of trying to express of what we're supposed to do in this moment of now. and because it's not part of their narrative, so they get a bit narky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're going to
And-
have a comedy show this coming Friday, aren't we?
Yes.
Yes. And we're going to make a personal invite to everyone that is listening right now. All of you in the chat room, you're going to show up here tomorrow, aren't you?
Yeah, have a giggle, and we'll slaughtering sacred cows, even for the vegans. And oh, thank you, Nick. Moo.
Okay. You're all going to hit the like and share button too. We want to get a Friday night party rocking, and we want to go and slay some sacred cows. So what are some of the sacred cows we haven't slayed yet? What's something we can wet their sacred cow slaying whistle with?
Oh well, it's like I think we've kicked organized religion in the nuts 7 or 8 times.
Yep.
Haven't maybe Jedi, Jedi and Sith. What else? I don't know. I don't know. Does that answer your question? Because
Let's take a poll of the audience that is here right now in the Zoom room. We want you to say what sacred cows you want us to take the piss out of. Somebody says Bill Gates. That's easy. We're doing it all the time. CDC. Okay, we might try on that one. Alternate media in all forms, maybe. Crazy callers. Yes, we could do that. Elon Musk, we can do him. Trump,
Well,
he's easy.
Oh well, yeah, Trump. That's low hanging fruit, really.
Nah.
Elon Musk. He just did another podcast with Joe Rogan, so I'll be watching that this afternoon to see where he is, because Mr. Ike's not a fan.
Did you see what Musk changed his Twitter symbol to?
No, not yet, but I know what
a video game that talks about a secret government that releases a virus on the world. That's what the video game is all about.
Yeah, I think he's starting to troll.
Yes, he's trolling.
Well, he's got a new child, which is A anima sign X12. What's wrong with Jill or Bob? But no, it has to be a password. Yeah, thank you, Santo. Andrew, try and say that name that Santo just put in.
Zia 12.
Oh, okay. So he's been watching a lot of Xena. And 12, is that the number of the clone that survived?
Yes, that's this 12th iteration.
Yeah, number 12 survived. The other 11 will just dispose of. So yeah, Elon will be quite easy, because then we can get into the Space Force and the Pentagon confirming.
Ooh, we could really do go into Space Force hardcore.
Oh yeah, and blue chickens.
Oh yeah, blue chickens. We'll roast them. We'll have a chicken roast, a blue chicken roast.
Yeah, galactic fried chicken. Taste the blue.
Intergalactic Earth fried chicken. We're gonna sell a bucket of blue fried chicken.
Thank you, Mary, for Area 51. What I found interesting, the government wouldn't acknowledge Area 51, but it was on Google Earth.
Okay, we'll talk about Area 69.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
Also be interesting. We'll talk about Pine Gap as well, because I know it exists, and that's about it. And so be interesting.
I've got a lot on Pine Gap.
Because the great Bob Dean, who I hope to meet in the next life or something, because he just came across as an awesome gentleman. He pointed out that Pine Gap's about 100 stories below, and it's an R&R station for the aliens on the planet. And then he said, if you have to deal with humans, you need R&R. I'm like, yeah. And also, what apparently we humans smell for the other aliens.
Yeah, we smell like karma.
Oh, Ella.
We smell like karma.
Oh, there's karma on that guy.
Yep.
I like that the my karma ran over your dogma. That's always
right.
a good one.
That's always a good one. So many people misunderstand that right away.
What? You have a karma? What does your karma do?
It runs over your dogma.
What's your fuel mileage on that? Oh, that just reminded me. I find it funny that certain people, because of their experience, they think that aliens couldn't get here because they're using combustible engines. Well, it'll take them forever to fly here. I mean, petrol at that point. Like, wow, okay. I open your mind a little bit wide now, where you could be folding space.
So everyone that's in the chat room that's been typing in stuff, I'm going to hold you to coming into tomorrow's show. If you don't, I'm going to come to your dream space and give you a wedgie.
He can do that. I've been visited by Andrew, so
yes, you've had the unseen wedgie.
I didn't have the wedgie, so I was driving in a car and gave you a lift, and you said, "You know how to get in contact me," and then a dust storm hit. And I'm like, "Well, that's weird." I don't know if you're doing a matrix.
I work mysteriously like that.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love that in the Bible. God has a plan, but he also works in mysterious ways. Well, pick a lane. Come on.
All right, for everyone, if this will be from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. EST time tomorrow, Friday, in this exact same spot and how you got into this room, however you're watching it right now, it will be in this exact spot, same links. So it's not hard to come back to it. That's right. You're going to get a wedgie. You don't show up.
Mm-hmm. 4-dimensional wedgie. And remember, when we enter 5D, you get handed a 6D bus pass.
That's right.
You spend half an age going, what the hell is this? When all the greys are giggling.
Giggling greys.
Yeah, well, which should give you I think it's like, well, are they greys or are they...
Let's have a challenge. What can you say to make a gray laugh?
Wow. I'm better than you.
So they're like, no, you're not. Bitch.
Yeah, you may take a bullet, but a samurai sword to the neck does wonders.
They're like, ooh. Ooh. Really? That's all you got?
Oh, yeah. I loved you on Stargate. Shut up.
You got him on that one. You were great in E.T. Phone home. Phone home.
Phone home, mother lover. Come on. That's what I find amusing as well, is that in Stargate, Norse mythology is based on the Greys.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the Thor movies, but instead of having Chris Hemsworth looking like a Viking, you had a 4-foot grey running around with a hammer.
That's great.
A moat, damn you, a moat.
I'm sure there's some grey going around. That's racist.
That's cultural appropriation.
That's cultural appropriation and racist.
You bastards. That's what we're talking about, like what's next for the planet, and Project Bluebeam's popped up again, and someone pointed out if they do a fake alien invasion, the real aliens are going to turn up and say, like, yeah, can you introduce us? We've never met these people before.
So true.
Crap.
There's a fake alien invasion. We'll be all watching it on TV like a movie.
Yeah, I had a vision dream, or it could be just my high self being a funny bugger, because my high self is a comedian. Got a story about that in a second. But the sky could be full of ships all moving or stagnant, everything else like that, and people will see it, and then they'll go inside and see it on TV and then believe it.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to look at the TV like, oh wow, it's true, even though they could see it outside on their lawn. Mm-hmm. I know my higher self is a comedian because I was at my friend's Melissa's. She was doing a course with quantum energetics, and part of it was to try and tap into your clairvoyance. And you were given a partner, and then think of or sense a word or something that they should know or how to describe them. And there was a guy. And Melissa did it as well, and she's obviously clearer because she's been doing it for 15 years. But my higher self told me Garfield. I'm like, I have no idea what that means. And then Melissa said, well, you're kind of right, because it's tiger.
It's just a fat tiger.
Yeah, and so my 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 highest self's a comedian as well, or a smartass, which I like. So I'll tap into that divine comedy.
Yes, and we're gonna take the piss out of the Greys, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians. We're gonna go full racial stereotyping on them.
Oh yes, as well as remember I put forward the news that Ascension has been outsourced.
Yes, and the event has happened. You've all missed it. Tough luck.
Yeah, yeah. You've all made redundant because you're not an essential worker. And I think Andrew and Don are Grey's Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy. Ha 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 ha.
Their sexual organs are a 4-level lab.
Grey's Anatomy is like the show. It's a bunch of Greys in a drama show. They have no drama though.
Yeah, no emotion, and they just stare, that blank stare.
It's just all taking and abusing humans, and that's the drama.
Oh dear. And our complaint of Monsters Inc. is ripping off our idea because they go into people's bedrooms and try to absorb.
Yeah, you all missed the alarm clock. You hit snooze button too often.
Yeah. Wait. I was supposed to evolve? Oh man.
Man, I missed it again. It's all right. It'll come back around another 20 million years. You're good.
Yeah, you'll be right. Yeah, time's an illusion. But you're stuck at the low end of the wedge.
Greyhounded from Lillian. That's good.
Now that would be scary if you have to catch a bus across country and you get on the Greyhound and there's a Grey going, hurry up.
Exactly. Put your bags under the carriage.
And of course the great 50 Shades of Grey and
yes, 50 Shades of Grey.
Because that's how you conduct scientific experiments, by using an anal probe.
Yes, we're gonna find the Tom Cruise of all Greys. who's part of a weird Grey religion.
Every 3 minutes he gets on his couch and jumps up and down.
Yep.
And who else? Like, should we attack some of the celebrities? Because like Ellen DeGeneres said it's just like living in prison, where she's in a $15 million mansion
with her servants.
Yeah, with her servants and good Wi-Fi. Yeah.
It's not like you get your 5 minutes outside in your prison yard time.
Yeah, once an hour. Yeah, an hour a day. You have to go out into the small yard and walk around with other celebrities.
Exactly, you get to walk around with other celebrities without masks.
Yeah, it's some people say it's the adrenochrome, but there's they don't have a stylist, makeup artist, but they're craving attention, and so I can see more of that on an energy base where it's like, please look at me. Like, I thought having a YouTube channel it would be a boom because people will be starting to watch, but then people like Will Smith started a YouTube channel. Like, oh come on, I can't go up against the Fresh Prince.
So somebody was saying orange is the new black. No, gray is the new black.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about some ghetto grays.
Gangster, yo.
Gangsta grays. We're going to do some gray rap.
Hey, man, you want some human DNA, man?
Come on, man. DNA, man. Come on, everybody's smoking it now.
This will get you high, motherfucker. Yeah, come on.
Come on. Everybody's altering their DNA now.
Now, yeah, and also there's the Nordics, which are tall whites. Do they sound like the Swedish Chef from the Muppets?
No.
Oh, okay. That makes me giggle.
They have like a more like a German and Canadian accent.
Oh, because the German accent's so expressive.
Yes, Gernadium.
Oh, Gernadium. Hello.
You have to practice the Gernadian accent.
Yes, yeah. Oh, hi, German. Yeah, this is really good, man. I'm hungry. I'm very hungry right now.
Yes. All right, Monty. So we're near the end of the show. Give people a way to get a hold of you.
On Twitter, if you wander into that sweatpool, anyway, Twitter, it is at Real Monty Dean. On YouTube, it is Wafer Thin Entertainment. On Instagram, it's Monty.Dean. On Facebook, it's just Monty Dean. And when lockdowns rescinded, I'll be appearing on public transport.
Yay! And everyone who has not already bought Galactic History 2.0, it is now available in the andrewbartzis.com shop. 40 plus hours of new Galactic History material for you to delve deep into. All right, everyone, make sure you hit like and you hit share on this video. And all of you that are here right now listening, you will be here tomorrow for the comedy show. 6 p.m. EST, or you're all going to get an unseen wedgie.
Yeah, 8 a.m. Saturday in here in Australia.
All right, Robert, take us away.
Each different bubble of reality is true. A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma. Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence. Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important? Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.